For some time, we've been treated to an outpouring of what only can be described as anti-Christmas literature, specifically a cult favorite tactic used by the cults. But even the pagan world media and Christians are telling us about how the holiday is pagan in origin and bad, and should not be celebrated by Christians. These opinions are backed up with some rather unusual and curious fantasies masquerading as historical facts. The following video is intended only to re-examine popular historical claims of the origins of Christmas and to provide further discussion concerning some of the so-called facts offered in some anti-Christian publications.
Up until this time, the birthday of Jesus Christ, the Jewish Messiah, had not been celebrated at all. Ignoring scriptures, however, indicating that the birth probably did not occur during the winter, the Church nevertheless confused biblical history and made Jesus' birthday coincide with the pagan god Mithra. The birth date of the sun god had now become the birth date of the Son of God.
If pagan Rome was already celebrating the birth of Mithra on December 25th, it seemed natural to honor the birth of the Christ child at the same time. By the 4th century, the Church made it official. December 25th was declared the feast day of the Nativity.
The Saturnalia story and other winter festival stories being the origin of our December 25th celebration is not only getting old, but it is also not true. Our December 25th origin comes from Jewish roots, not pagan. A Jewish observance of Hanukkah, which is a major holiday for Jews to this day. Although it was not one of the 7 biblical holidays, it nevertheless is of great significance. It is also called the Festival of Dedication, or sometimes the Festival of Lights. John chapter 10 verse 22 and 23 records that Jesus was walking on the porch of the temple during this observance. He had nothing to say against it, and judging by his location, may have been participating, even though it was not commanded in the Bible. Remember, December 25th is almost certainly not the actual date for the Incarnation. Shepherds in Israel would not have been out in the fields tending their flocks at night in December. Therefore, why choose this date? First, it was on the 25th day of the Hebrew month Kislev, corresponding to our December, that Antiochus chose to desecrate the temple and establish worship of his god, because it was already an existing heathen holiday. Therefore, 1st and 2nd Maccabees go out of their way to stress the fact that it was exactly 3 years later, to the day, that the temple was cleansed and rededicated. The 25th of Kislev. Now when the Church, long after the actual date of the Incarnation had been lost in antiquity, chose the date to commemorate the incomparable occasion, when deity dwelt within a human body, what better association than the temple, where deity had also dwelt, and the 25th of Kislev, which was an already established date commemorating the cleansing and rededication of the temple, as a dwelling place for God. The Church did not choose December 25th, because it was an ancient heathen holiday, but because of the Jewish feast of Hanukkah, that occurred on that date, and the added significance that Jesus gave to it. This date eloquently testified to the fact that at the birth of Jesus deity was dwelling in a human body, like a temple, and shining out to give light in the midst of darkness. The great Hebrew Christian scholar, Alfred Edersheim, whose writings on this period of time are still classic, shared this thought. The date of the Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah the 25th of Kislev, seems to have been adopted by the ancient Church, as that of the birth of our blessed Lord. Christmas, the dedication of the true temple, which was the body of Jesus. We would do well to look at the Jewish roots of our Christmas, which means Christ is sent, and act accordingly. Sorry people, but Passover, Easter, Good Friday, and Christmas all have Jewish roots.
thousands of years earlier, God, speaking through the prophet Jeremiah, warned against this pagan practice in the Old Testament. Thus saith the Lord, Learn not the ways of the heathen, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, they deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers, that it move not. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
Referring to the worship of trees. In Jeremiah 10 verse 1 it says, Do not learn the way of the Gentiles. Don't be dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the Gentiles are dismayed at them. Their customs of the peoples are futile. For one cuts a tree from the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen, with the axe. They decorate it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers, so that it will not topple. They are upright like a palm tree, and they cannot speak.
Another popular anti-Christmas myth is one that is told that the Bible itself forbids the use of Christmas trees. In Jeremiah, it reads,
For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
There's just one problem. Jeremiah predates even the pagan use of evergreens, and he was centuries ahead of the first Christmas tree. How can the Bible ban something that didn't even exist at the time? Like so many things, the scripture in this case is taken out of context. Jeremiah is speaking in context of idols, and there is no way anyone can claim that a Christmas tree is an idol. In his article, Is Christmas Christian? Hank Hanegraaff, president of the Christian Research Institute, states, a closer examination of Jeremiah 10 reveals that God is in reality condemning the creation of permanent wooden idols carved from the trees of the forest.
By the 4th century, the Church made it official. December 25th was declared the feast day of the Nativity.
And of course it's a very short step from the feast day of the risen Son, S-U-N, to the feast day of the risen Son, S-O-N. So in a sense, it's a very good choice, and the symbolism is there because the feast day of the unconquered Son was about fertility, about birth. And so, obviously, is the Christian Christmas.
Yes, I am fully aware that this specific quote and video is from the History Channel, all right? Wow. This mentality only works in the English language, this son mentality. For example, in Spanish, you would say sol, and the kid would be hijo. They don't even remotely sound the same, or nor are they spelled the same. In French, you would say soleil, and for the kid, you would say fils. It doesn't sound the same. It's not even closely spelled the same. As a matter of fact, this mentality can only work in modern English. In Old English, the son is spelled S-I-G-E-L, and the son, the kid, would be spelled S-U-N-U. Again, nothing remotely resembles each other.